I'm Wade Hudson,
Hi, I'm Cheryl Willis Hudson.
and we are founders of Just Us Books, an independent publisher of Black interest and multicultural books for children and young adults. In October this year, we will celebrate 32 years of continuous publishing.
Wade and I are also authors, and together we have created over 60 books for young readers. Welcome to Just Us and, a new series where we interview and have conversations with talented book creators, advocates, and also those who get books into the hands of readers.
Now, one of the most prolific creators of books for children is our good friend, Floyd Cooper. Floyd has illustrated and written almost 100 books for children, and his books have won many awards, including 3 Coretta Scott King Awards. How you doing, Floyd?
I'm doing good in these quarantine times.
Yeah.
Quarantine times.
Yeah. So what are you doing to cope with these challenges?
Well, luckily, I'm in the middle of a series of deadlines,
Mhm.
fierce deadlines, and so they have all my attention.
Okay.
And keeping me busy. And so it's a good timing in that respect. But
You find yourself being
really
more creative with this time that you have at home?
well, hey, brother, creativity is just a nonstop flow, you know.
I
It's just
hear you.
always. But yeah, I do. I find that I'm able to work a little bit more because I'm not distracted, particularly with the warm weather and everything coming up, and
Mhm.
that would usually tend to pull me away.
Right.
I've developed a little sideline hobby of photography,
Wow.
and so it gets me out. I like to go do some street stuff every now and then, you know, but
Mhm,
I
mhm.
can't do that right now, so I'm working.
It was
One downside to it all, though, is that we quarantined together, me and Dayton's family, and so it can be a little hectic at times, if you know what I mean. And it's hard to have that creative flow when things are hectic like that.
I hear
know,
you. I
So,
hear you. I hear you.
but we're managing, you know, we're getting through it.
Well, listen, Floyd, you've said that giving kids a real positive impact or making an impact positively to counteract all of the negativity that you see on the media is really an excellent opportunity. Can you share a little bit more about that? Is that why you became a children's book illustrator?
Well, that was my initial way to tie myself into the community. As you know, when we met, I was basically just trying to break in, get artwork jobs, illustration jobs from anywhere. And these doors open, these publishing doors open. I met you guys, and I noticed that everyone had this sort of mantra, this sort of thing that drove them. And so I started to ask myself a few questions about what it is that would explain my reason for being here. And so early on, I developed a realization that what we were doing was impacting children.
Mhm.
And when we impact children, we're on the front lines of humanity. That's where it all jumps off. The things we sort of form as children carry us through the rest of our lives oftentimes, you know? And so I saw the importance of that. And so being able to come in at that point in development of a human being's life uh, gave me the realization that one could have positive impact on them at that point. And hopefully that would be giving them something that would carry them the rest of their life. If you give enough positivity, it's like an injection against an inoculation, I suppose, against any negativity that could come your way. You know, you can beat out negativity with positivity. You know, so
Yeah.
I thought that by contributing positive images was a way to do that.
Wow.
Not to get too.
So how did you get your start, Floyd?
Well, I got my start from these two lovely folks called Wade and Cheryl Hudson. They were Wade and Cheryl Hudson. They were starting a book company. Actually, I went to an agency. It was on one of my lists of people to see while I was visiting New York. It was an agency called Kirchhoff Wahlberg.
Yeah.
And that's how I met Libby Ford, and she was able to get me work right away, which gave me the money to hang around in New York instead of flying all the way back to Kansas City every week, you know. So that's where it all started. And Libby, of course, was connected with the children's book industry, publishing. And she put my work in front of Patty Gouch at Penguin Books and Philomel, which was a division of Penguin at the time. And they asked me to do a little sample illustration of a little grandpa with his little granddaughter, and that illustration became Grandpa's Face, my first picture book. So
beautiful.
it was
that's written by Eloise Greenfield.
written by the one and only, who is really the real catalyst for me being here, the real spark plug, I guess, for me being here was Eloise and her dogged determination to get a person of color to illustrate her books. Now, she'd been told previously that, oh, we can't find any people of color to illustrate your books. You're just gonna have to settle for this person or that person. And she says, no, I must have a person of color illustrate my books. And so they looked a little harder, a little deeper, and they found me. So it was because of her insistence, I believe, that led to them digging deep enough to find me. And so Eloise is she's really the one, you know.
In that book, Grandpa's Face, there's a lot of light that comes through, and I think that is reflective, or it really shows the kind of illustration and the style of illustration that you do. You use an eraser to add rather than to subtract from things. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, this technique is one I discovered in my early Hallmark days. I was working in Kansas City at Hallmark Cards in a little department where we would change greeting cards. My department was kind of the low echelon, the low tier on the whole structure of the company. And basically it was the bottom, you know, it was like starting on the ground floor. What we would do is just take other people's artwork and change it. And we would use erasers to do that. And so I developed this technique working with some other folks in that department, and also with a great guy, Mark English, who was working this way as well. And we used erasers to make art, and it's just been something that I've just sort of held as my sort of signature, or my own personal visual voice. And I use erasers to erase a background. Let me see if I can do that for you. Would you like to see it?
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm going to, I have a fierce technical guru here, Kai Cooper.
Okay.
He's the king of these matters. So he's going to help me.
Okay.
Oh, let me see. I think we hit, then we go to now can you guys see that? Can you see me?
Yeah, now we can. Yes,
we see your hand.
Yep.
Great.
Now, what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about, in case someone wants to get started with this. This is the way I start with a background. This is a medium of oil paint that I brushed on with a sponge brush, and it's dry to the touch, but it still erases. And of course, kneaded erasers are what I like to use because they're like sponges. They lift the paint away. You can use any number of erasers to do this. I have an eraser here in a pencil form that can really be used to take away the paint. But let's just get started here real quick with this. Now I'm going to orient this paper away here, and I hope that you all can see me as I do
we can.
this.
Yeah.
I'm just lifting off shapes here. And these shapes become the images in my pictures. And you can see it's a very sensitive technique where pressure really does bring out the values. So you're controlling values as you go. And I'm just lifting the paint off, finding my message here, what's going to happen here. Now, the eraser gets dirty, so you stretch it and fold it as you go. But you can see here just how easy that is. You can also use something like a paper towel or a Q-tip to rub off a shape. If you're not sure exactly where you're going with it yet, you can sort of do that preliminarily, then go back and take off the paint when you know that's where you want to go. So it's a very forgiving medium, and it's really kind of therapeutic to just sort of sit and watch how this stuff just comes out of the background here. I don't know if you see anything yet, but I'm
Yeah.
going to add a few more little details to sort of bring it to something that we can recognize. I have a light source, which is what we call a Rembrandt lighting. It's like a 3/4 lighting with a light over to the side, casting this way across this image. And anything that would pick up that light would become a positive shape that I would erase. So I'm just imagining. I don't really have a model. I can't look up. Else, if I could, I would draw Wade here, but I can't really. I can't really see. I'm looking down at the.
Well, you've already done me and passed it on.
Oh, I did. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I had to get that in there. Yes, I had to immortalize you, brother. Now, what I'm doing is basically letting some of this fall into the shadow. So there's a balance between light and shadow here, you know? So basically that's what I would do. You can also go in and take away negative space to sort of make a shape this way as well, by taking away the negative space, the background, as it were. So this is basically how I proceed to a painting. I think you all get the idea here, right?
That's wonderful.
It's
Wow.
You can actually
bone structure and everything.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, you do have to have a little bit of underlying knowledge of anatomy, I guess, when you're working on these types of things. But it really is just sort of random, like in a Ouija board, you know, just sort of.
It's magic.
Comes, you never know. Yeah. Oh man, is that on the notes?
Work, right?
Is that word in the notes? I think you were waiting to get that in. I think. All right. Well, you guys see how this works. What I would normally do is just go in and
go ahead.
Yeah, keep talking, man.
I was going to ask you, how do you select projects that you undertake? I'm sure you get offers from publishers, and some of them you perhaps pass on. So how do you know what you're going to do?
Well, it wasn't always that way, brother.
I know.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
You used to take anything that came along, and that was good training to have that happen, you know, because you put you in different situations that you may not choose, but you have to handle it. And that's some of the best training an artist can have, is to be put in that situation, because it pushes you and stretches you, you know. So these days I can do that. I can pick and choose a little bit. I use the calendar as a foil. if I don't like it, I'm busy, you know. But if I do like it, I take my arm and just sweep across my desktop and wipe everything off. I'm working on a project now that was like that. I had to clear everything off to do it. It's a personal project from my hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is where I grew up. I was born about a block away from Greenwood Avenue, which is many of you may recognize as the street known as Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
And you see it now. It's coming up on its anniversary, and so you're going to be getting a lot of narratives and stories that are coming out in the media regarding that incident and what happened. It was a horrible event. My own grandfather was right in the middle of it. He told us stories of what it was like when it all came down.
Yeah.
How they were sitting around in their houses and they were like sitting ducks, you know. And it just happened like swift, just quick. They came through, burned everything down, shooting people. It was crazy, you know. So I'm illustrating a book written by Carol Boston Weatherford.
Yeah.
It'll be coming out from, I believe, Carol Rhoda, Learner Books, and I'm working on it right now, actually.
Okay.
So
I'm actually half here, guys. I'm half. The other half is upstairs still, where I work, and it's something that is really personal to me in a
right.
I was reading one of your posts on Facebook, I think a few days ago. You Used to play guitar, right? And you you grew up with one of the what's the group from Oklahoma?
Gap Band. The Gap Band. Yeah. In fact, GAP stands for Greenwood, Archer, and Pine Street, which is that part of the Black Wall Street. Archer on the south end and Pine Street on the north. Okay. And Greenwood just sort of ran perpendicular, and so that was the Black Wall Street, and that's where their name came from. You know, that was the centerpiece for Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay, so
as far as blacks were concerned in business,
when they were younger and expiring
Oh
museum?
yeah. Robert, we were in school together. It was about 11 elementary schools in North Tulsa, and I attended all 11 because we moved around. We moved around that much. Sometimes I
Yeah.
come home. You hear kids sometimes have those stories of coming home to an empty house. Well, I was one of those kids, and so there was a period, I believe maybe fourth, fifth grade, I think, when I was with Robert and his brothers, and everybody was trying to learn to play the guitar because those guys were so good. And when somebody's good, it's infectious. Everybody wants to do it. It
Yeah.
don't mean you're going to be good, but I was
Right,
trying. Me
right.
and my brother would try. We got some little broke guitars, and we'd be trying to learn. But some of my other friends advanced really quickly. In fact, there were some cats who were better than those guys. But you know how that goes, man. It's like the guy that was better than Michael Jordan, but he wasn't Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? So
well, that points the whole thing about craft and discipline. A lot of people can have talent, but
that's
unless
right.
you hone in and focus in on that talent, doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean it's going to necessarily go anywhere.
That's right.
For your talent,
that's why you keep working. You just keep pushing, because you never know. You may not be as good as the person sitting next to you, but you could be the one to make it just because you worked hard. So working and that work ethic and working hard is really the key. I would say it's more valuable than
really the advice to young people who want to go into children's book illustration or illustration in general.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Well, Floyd,
absolutely.
we're sort of moving toward the end, but I wanted to ask you, you've been in the industry now and along with us for more than 30 years. There have been some changes, and there's still a lot that needs to be done. So how would you assess where we are now in terms of diversity and inclusion and equity in publishing?
Well, when you're in it this long, man, when you see this type of advancement and progress, it's great. It's a beautiful thing. I do understand everything is context, and there are those that are still not quite happy, which they shouldn't be. Everyone still should keep pushing because we do have a ways to go. We're not there yet. I always want to try to admonish, or at least gently persuade people to not forget the advice that I have is to always try to be good, be your best, produce quality stuff. We have to make sure that we don't just sort of rush to get things out and it's not quite up to snuff. And I know I may be misunderstood a lot about pushing that, but I really do believe in excellence and making sure that you don't stop trying to achieve that on your way to trying to get someplace. I always try to bring it with excellence, bring it with quality.
Great.
That's sort of my bottom line.
Great advice.
It may have to do with I just accepted a position with the University of Hartford School of Art.
Okay.
So maybe that's why I'm being sort of professorial here, but I may need to pull back a little bit. But that's what I really try to convey is that we should continue to strive to be good, be bona fidely good, and make sure that we produce things that are excellent.
Yeah, I think we know no disagreement here. We're approaching now the lightning part of our discussion, the lightning round. We just want to ask a few questions, and you give us some.
Well, I thought that was the lightning round. That was pretty fast.
Listen, man, you give us a couple of dissertations.
This is gonna knock me out here. Okay, I'm ready.
We're gonna do it quickly. What is the favorite book that you created? Of all the books that you've done.
Right now it's Max and the Tagalong Moon, but that's just because that's keeping us going here with the sales. That book has really been doing pretty well.
It's wonderful.
But
a million copies in print by now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, well, what's a favorite book by another creator?
Well, I have this book, which is really fantastic. I love this. This is classic. It's going to be around for a while, But I love Jerry Pinkney's work, all of his books. But that's just from the art, and he's just a genius, And so I would say Jerry Pinkney's books.
Okay.
Okay.
So who has had the biggest influence on your life as an illustrator, as an artist?
I would say that that would be artists like Jerry Pinkney and um, guys like Jerry who came before. Now, I was still a pup when I saw Jerry's work. He was doing work, postage stamps and Essence magazine, and all these other things that he would be doing. And these things would come into our house, and that just sort of led to me thinking that I could do it. So Jerry Pinkney probably was the biggest. I mean, I would hang his stuff up. I was talking to Tori Maldonado. We were talking about dreams hanging on the walls of ghetto walls, and so yeah, he would, we'd hang these pictures up, and they became our ticket, that was our beam me up Scotty, our beam me up Scotty, so it got us out of the ghetto,
Yeah.
dreaming with images.
Yeah.
What's the favorite music to listen to when you want to unwind?
Well, I have eclectic taste, but I love hip hop. I love jazz. I love reggae. I'm relying on Katura.
Katura just gave you a shout out when you said hip hop.
But she is so connected. I mean, she has taste that sort of predate her, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I remember Katura when she was making that little video, with Dayton and everybody with the little t-shirts,
Right.
And so I know she's not that old, but she's bringing some knowledge from good old days. I rely on her to keep me posted on,
So do we.
Yes.
Right.
So what you would like to do? What you have not had the opportunity to do that you would like to do, Floyd?
Oh man. Oh, what have I? Oh, that is a lightning question. I was gonna say jump out of a plane, but I'm not gonna do that. So.
No bungee jumping.
That'll just be.
I mentioned that.
Right. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. I'm really living a very blessed life, and I'm a grandpa now, so.
Okay.
I'm in that club. And that's
good. Grandpa Club. Going back to Grandpa's face. Grandpa's face. Is there a book that you would love to write or illustrate that you haven't written yet?
Not yet. I'm still working on getting through these deadlines, and I can't really think of anything. Tori and I are talking about doing something with a book together that could be very interesting, where we could bring in our personal experiences growing up in low-income housing and getting out of that, So I don't know. That could be something that would pull me in that direction.
You're stirring
for that.
Pot. That's good.
So what's one piece of advice you would like to share with aspiring book creators?
Well, I'll go back to what I said earlier, is that always bring your best stuff. Don't get lazy. Don't get complacent. I know technology is making things a lot easier, but you want to be sure to get the fundamentals and don't lose that, because that is what's going to keep you human in the face of robotic art or technology or whatever, So that could be your edge, actually, when everyone else is jumping on these new fangled mediums. If you can sort of continue to do the basics, the eye-hand coordination stuff, the drawing, the everything, all that stuff that comes into making images from the old school. Just hang on to some of that and continue to always bring the best. Even if you don't draw, even if you use purely digital mediums, there's a way that some of that stuff is excellent too. So you want to make sure that always bring your A game. Always be the best. Yeah. Be the best.
Well, as we kind of pull up to the very end of this interview, can you tell people how they can get in touch with you or learn more about your work?
Yeah, well, Facebook is probably where you could find me, as well as Instagram. I usually post my art to Instagram. Instagram is f.cooper.4. Facebook is floyd.cooper.12. And my website is floydcooper.com. And my email is fcooper4@msn.com.
we're going to put that up on the screen.
Got it. Okay.
Good.
All right.
Well, we want to thank you, Floyd. This has really been exciting and engaging, man. You shared
Love
some
it.
really great information. So thank you, brother, for sharing with us today.
Wow. Well, think what it would have been like if I'd had breakfast first. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you, Floyd.
And
All
remember
right.
that
We want
we just want to say, remember that always from the beginning into the end, Just Us books and good books make a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Take care, Floyd. Talk
All
to you.
right.